So in this particular presentation, I want to focus on the exam itself, getting certified, Security Plus certified. So you've taken the training and you have some hands-on experience from the training, and you are convinced now that you are fully prepared to sit for this exam. That is fine. So as long as you prepared hard, you trust your preparation, you should be able to clear this exam. So you expect, let's say, maximum of 90 questions according to CompTia documentation. You might not actually be up to that, but you don't expect more than 90 questions. These questions, in terms of the types of questions that you see, multiple choice, performance-based, and when we talk about performance-based question, it's simply put drag and drop. So you drag an item from the left, and you probably drop it on the right-hand side. So let's say you have basic example here. So here you've got DNS, HTTP, HTTPS. In your studies, you should understand the TCP/IP port numbers and all that, which service uses which ports. If you really didn't study well, read, watch videos, and do some demos for this exam, you might not pass it. So we want to assume that you have done all of that. And in the exam, if you encounter like a performance-based questions, they might ask you to drag HTTPS to the respective port number that he uses. Of course, this guy uses port 443. So let's say that 443 is somewhere here. You're going to drag this and place it here. Okay, so that is performance-based. You are not going to configure anything, like log into a firewall and start to set it up. Okay, multiple choice question. So they give you one question and then you have options. And when you are done with that, you go to next and then you see another question, you read it through and then you take a look at the options. As a matter of fact, I have a CBEX textbook, which is the latest CBEX textbook, CompTia SY0-701. And there are some assessment questions there that the authors of those books, like Mike Chappell, put in there to assess your understanding of a particular domain. What I'm going to do is quickly show you some of the assessment questions from that textbook. This is not what you see in the exam, but this is kind of like to test your understanding of the material, right? So don't get me wrong. This is not going to be the exam question. So I have these two questions here. So here, take a look at this. Let's take a look at this first one. So this is multiple choice question. So you see the question and you see the options. The organization that Chris works for has disabled automatic updates. You know what automatic updates is? Like, I'm using a Windows 10 PC for this recording. And if you go to Control Panel and take a look at Windows updates on your system, you should be able to tell whether the system is set up to update automatically. Yeah, part of the things you hear some guys telling you to keep yourself safe online, you have to update and all this. And yeah, update is very important. But in production environment, update can be a nightmare. So why would an organization that Chris is working for disable automatic updates? Automatic updates simply means that if there is any update from Microsoft, your system will download it automatically and install it, so long the system has an internet connection. That's what automatic update is. Every month there is what Microsoft called Patch Tuesday, which I think second Tuesday of every month, they are going to release security fixes, like they call it patches. Maybe they've discovered some weaknesses, some vulnerabilities in their product, and then they have to fix it and then release an update for that. So if your system is set to do this update automatically, that means automatic update is turned on. Mostly in your client system, like your Windows, your personal PCs, I think the setting should be automatically turned on by default. So your system does update without bothering you. All right. But where Chris is working, they have to turn it off. meaning they want to take control of doing the updates. They don't want the update to happen automatically. Here is now asking us, what is the most common reason for disabling automatic update for organizational systems? We're looking at production systems here. If automatic update is turned on in your personal laptop, that is fine. But in production, it could lead to a downtime. If the update is broken, it could mess up the systems and would lose money, right? So what are the options? What do you think would be the right answer here to avoid disruption of work process for office workers? Do you think this is the right answer? Maybe yes, maybe not. The B, to prevent security breaches due to malicious patches and updates. So if the update is coming genuinely from Microsoft, then it cannot be malicious. To avoid issues with problematic patches and updates. And the option D, all of the above. So this is multiple choice question. You have to choose the best answer. Of course, the best answer to me, if I encounter something like this in the exam, reading through the question, you need to know what updates do and what is automatic update. The update happens even without your consent. Once the update is available, released by Microsoft, your system applies it. That is automatic. And sometimes some updates can break your system. So what they do in production environment is to download these updates in a testing environment, like a sandbox. So in most production environments, they have what they call test server. So in the testing environment, you can download and install these updates and then watch those systems and see how they behave. If nothing is broken within the test environment, and then we can now go ahead to the production and push those updates. Because if you don't manage updates, that's actually why there is patch management. So patch management helps us to apply these patches in a systematic way that will not impact negatively on production system. So if you want to avoid issues with problems that may arise as a result of applying the patches, then you have to disable automatic updates. Hope you get the idea. So this is a sample of what we say multiple choice. This is not a sample of the exam question. This is a sample of CBEX study material to help you test your understanding of the topic that they just covered. So if you are preparing for Security Plus, I would recommend you get the textbook, the CBEX Security Plus SY0-701 is a great textbook. Go read that book, then complement it with videos and hands-on lab. Let's take a look at the second question I have here. If I scroll down, this one says Angela wants to prevent users in her organization from changing their passwords repeatedly after they have been changed. So you change your password today, and then tomorrow you come back to the office, you want to change the password again. Angela don't want that to happen anymore. So that they cannot reuse their current password. So there are two things Angela wants to do. If you change your password, you can't change it like playing with the password. Like you change it today, change it tomorrow, change it the day after tomorrow. You get the idea. Second thing, whenever it's time for you to change your password, you can't change it to what you've been using, right? So what of these settings do you think Angela should set up? This actually is testing you on system administration. You understand? At the introduction video that I released earlier, I did say that you need to understand networking and sysadmin, especially Windows Active Directory, if you really want to be a very good security professional. And also it helps you to prepare well for Security Plus. This, if you have a Windows Active Directory knowledge, you should know what settings to do. You simply go to your Windows server, you go to your group policy management, and then you go to password policy. There you should be able to set the password history and the minimum password age. That's actually what you need to set. Maybe I want my employees to change their passwords every 90 days, which is every 3 months. I'm going to set the minimum age for the password to 90 days. So it means that if they change the password today, they can't change it tomorrow or day after tomorrow. They have to wait for the minimum age, which is 90 days, before they can change it again. And the password history will prevent them from changing the password to what they have previously used. You get the idea? So if you already worked on Active Directory, you should be able to figure out the answer to this question very easily. So if we take a look at the CompTia website, here on the website, let's take a look at the Security Plus. Okay, so go to CompTia.org and you just go to training and navigate to the actual course, which is Security Plus. I think this guy. Okay, so it takes us to this page. Let's quickly take a look at what they're saying here. Look at the 5 domains covered in this course. And let's go down. So here you see that maximum number of questions you expect is 90. I just take you to the website because, you know, before now I was showing you this. Okay, so I just take you to the website so you could see maximum number of questions, 90 questions. How about the duration? How long the test will go is actually 90 minutes, right? And passing score 750. So you must score 750 to pass. The exam is on a scale of 100 to 900. They do recommend you have networking experience, right? At least 2 years experience working in security or system administration. That actually is very good because the question I just showed you earlier is a system administration job, setting password policies, etc., and password history. So if you're working in an Active Directory environment, that question should be a no-brainer to you. This is not mandatory, but is a recommendation. Yeah, so the exam is DoD approved, the Department of Defense, and that gives the exam the credibility and the popularity that is so enjoyed. So you can take this exam in a Pearson VUE testing centers, or you can also test online, which means you need to sit in the comfort zone of your home. You have to ensure that your internet connection is so robust. Okay, but if you cannot guarantee that your internet will be stable throughout the exam, then you can go to a testing center. So one of the Pearson VUE approved test centers close to your neighborhood. Now, for the price of the exam, it varies. It depends on which part of the world you are sitting for the exam. Canada, US, Nigeria. Get the training, get the materials, the textbook from CBEX, very fantastic textbook, and read, watch videos, do some hands-on, and get prepared, walk into the exam center, sit, and pass the exam. And then you get certified as a CompTia Security Plus certified professional. Okay, so that's what I want to review in this particular video. And in the next video, we're going to take a look at the introduction to cybersecurity. We're going to be looking at what cybersecurity is and how is that different from information security. Those will be discussed in our next video. Bye for now.